Hey guys, welcome to or back to my channel. So this week's video is going to be another sit down chat, heart to heart, one-on-one conversation, and we're going to be talking about validation, particularly self-validation, because that is something that recently has really just been in like the forefront of my mind, because I kind of had a realization, and it was a not so great realization to say the least, with my relationship towards Instagram, because I went on a little bit of a tangent talking about the Instagram algorithm and all of the issues that I have with it, and the issues that honestly a ton of other creators are having. And I just realized that the only reason this whole low engagement rate, Instagram algorithm drama issue situation has been affecting me so much is because I was reaching to Instagram for a source of validation. Because as a content creator, pretty much my worth online is dictated by my subscriber count, by the amount of followers that I have, by the amount of likes that I get, comments, shares, all of that sort of stuff. Everything is so numbers based, and it's honestly really easy to fall into the trap of viewing those factors as being super important, and you can place so much worth behind them, when in reality, at the end of the day, all that matters is the content itself and how I am showing up in the world and how I'm showing up in my work. That is it. The engagement, the external validation, that is just an extra thing that, yes, it matters, but it shouldn't be what fuels me. So this has been a journey that I'm really trying to embark on lately and really just make some progress, if that makes sense. And I really hope that this resonates with some of you, because I know that self-validation, no matter what it's kind of surrounding, it's something that everybody deals with. So with that said, if you enjoy content surrounding personal growth, human optimization, ethical living, I also share contortion content. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, definitely make sure to subscribe, because it really does support my channel, and it also means that you're never going to miss an upload from me. Something that I've learned is that in any individual moment, we may not be able to always separate ourselves from the sensations of self-doubt and the feelings of insecurity. But that is why it is so important to consciously curate our lives in a way that is validating, so that we don't go and search for that source of external validation from another person or a social media algorithm. And that starts by choosing your life, choosing your career based on what is ultimately fulfilling for you, choosing your career based on what excites you, not settling for something that is less than. It's about consciously selecting your location, your relationships, the clothing that you put on your body, the content that you consume, the books that you read, the people that you invest your energy in, the people that you invest your time in, the work that you invest your time in. Because if all of those match up to what is authentic to you, that is going to put so much more worth back in yourself, and you're going to be able to trust yourself more. And this really does come down to even the smallest of things, because I've realized that it's those moments where we can make that decision that fuels our self-worth. And I'm not saying that external validation is bad. I think that obviously if someone wants to encourage you or say something positive about something that you're doing, that is amazing, because that is strengthening your bond with another person. And I think there's something really beautiful to that. But when you're reaching for it and when you require it, that's when it's bad. And that's when it can get very unhealthy. Validation is an ecosystem, not a moment decision. But it comes from those moment decisions that create the ecosystem. Because then in those moments when you're not getting that validation from another person, you can look around and see this intentional ecosystem, this intentional environment around you that is backing you up. And you can look around and know, I built this. I didn't settle. And that in and of itself is so empowering, and it's going to allow you to be so much more self-validating, and you're not going to need that source of external validation. And also, this is very much like a student to student type of, learner to learner conversation. I'm not sitting here thinking that I have all of this figured out, because as I have explained, I'm very much at the beginning stages of this journey. But the beauty of YouTube is that I get to document my journey, and this is something that I have been learning. So if I can help you guys learn it as well, then that is ultimately what I'm here to do. So the first thing that I've really been trying to do is just when I notice those feelings of inadequacy or lack or insecurity, self-doubt, when those feelings emerge, then the first thing I do is literally just pause, like take a moment and notice that that is where my mind has wandered, and just acknowledging that I am not my thoughts. This is something that we've seen a lot on social media, the whole "you are not your thoughts" message, but it's so true. Like, we are more or less just an observer to our thoughts. We can't always control our thoughts, and realizing that we're stronger than them, that is what's important. So when you're feeling doubtful, like, acknowledge it and really just be proud of yourself for acknowledging it and noticing and interrupting that thought pattern. And then that brings me to the next thing, which is literally just validate the shit out of yourself and really be proud of yourself for noticing it and choosing to interrupt the pattern. I also think it's so important to not punish yourself. I think that in any journey, there is going to be moments where you slip up. Like, and of course with something like this, it's like, you're not just gonna be able to be like, okay, I am no longer going to search for external validation. Like, that's just, it's not gonna happen. You're gonna slip up. And I wouldn't even call it a slip up. I would say that that is it's like a trial. It's like a test to see where you're at. You really want to approach this journey of finding security in yourself and being able to self-validate. You want to approach it from a place of self-love and compassion, because that is what's going to inspire you to keep going. Because similar to, say, a fitness journey, if you are constantly beating yourself up every single time that you miss a day at the gym or miss a workout, that's not going to inspire you. That's going to degrade you and make you feel that you are not worthy of being on the journey in the first place. And I actually remember one of the creators that I follow, in regards to meditation, they were saying that, you know, your meditation is not singular practices that you do every day. Your meditation is one meditation throughout your entire life that you revisit every day. So it's accumulative. I know in my own life, I have definitely become a lot more aware of, you know, the moments that I find myself diving into a rabbit hole of looking through my analytics, and I've realized that all it does is make me feel bad. So I'm really trying to not do that. I'm really trying to just not look at my analytics at all. And if I do, I really try to only look at it from like a surface level. And then I always try to disperse that energy, like dance around a bit, do some balances, or do a quick workout, go for a walk, something like that, that can physically move the energy, or journaling, talking with a friend, doing something creative, that really does help. And then after you've been able to move that energy around and redirect it, then you're gonna be able to better use that experience to fuel your progression and continue creating that ecosystem around you that will be self-validating. Especially with social media right now, there is so much pressure to be that girl and have a glow up and, you know, clear your skin, improve your style, stay on trend, have your hair a certain way, have your hair done perfectly, have your makeup done perfectly, have all of these healthy habits that you do every single day and you never make a mistake, and have everything in your surrounding environment be super aesthetic. And then on the flip side, in like the more spiritual community, there's so much pressure to expand your consciousness and, you know, learn about all of these different things at once. And at any given moment, there is so much pressure to do so much at once. And the pressure that we feel to do everything at once, that directly stems from us seeking that validation. And listen, I'm a huge advocate for self-development, personal growth, really optimizing your life and your habits and finding empowerment in that journey of self-discovery. But something that I really want to come from this conversation is that whenever I share messages like that, I want to be inspiring other people as well as myself to approach that journey from a place of self-love and compassion. Like, let's just take a second to really look look at the whole that girl concept. You could easily look at that and think, oh, that's what self-development is. You know, eating healthy, moving your body, having a super healthy and fit lifestyle that focuses on wellness. That's personal growth. That is the epitome of self-development and self-improvement. But what you don't see is that behind that concept, behind that persona, it's still just that same desire for validation. You're not finding the motivation to live that lifestyle from inside, you're finding it from social media. Because we have this specific lifestyle that looks very similar to an actual journey of self-development, but the difference between the that girl concept, the that girl lifestyle, compared to a genuine journey of self-improvement and self-development, the genuine journey of self-improvement and self-development, that is fueled by self-love and ultimately wanting more for yourself, whereas the other one is fueled by that feeling of not doing enough. It's a feeling of lack and inadequacy, because you look online and you see all of these girls living that lifestyle, and then you think, oh, well, I need to be doing that, and that's not going to be sustainable, because that at the end of the day is still us reaching for external validation. I think it's just so crazy to acknowledge the fact that so many of us have gotten to a point where we no longer ask ourselves, why do we feel like our own word is not enough? Like, why can't we trust our own opinions? Why can't we make decisions in our lives based on our own thoughts and not constantly needing another person to say, yeah, I think that's the right move, you should do that? Like, what? As long as you're nurturing those goals within your ecosystem of self-validation and not fueling those goals from external validation, because the external validation is not always going to be there, and we need to be okay with that. That is where this whole ecosystem, this life that we consciously curate for ourselves to build ourselves up, that is where that comes in. Self-validation is a journey and a process, but it's also what can set ourselves free from all of the conditioning and consumerism in society right now. That is when we're going to be able to be our authentic selves and feel our most confident and most empowered. And also, the quote that I always share, we are free to consciously create the life of our dreams. I feel like this journey is how we as individuals can really live that motto. Really acknowledging your own self-worth, that is the biggest act of revolution. That is today's conversation. That is something that I have been thinking a lot about recently, and I really hope that this provided you with some food for thought, some things to consider, and really just like remind you to ask yourself whether or not in any given situation you're reaching for external validation. Like, are you listening to your own conscience, or are you listening to someone else's? Because it's a very important question to ask yourself, and it's something that I'm really trying to consciously ask myself more. How many times did I say consciously in this video? I feel like we could literally play a drinking game with this video. So with all of that said, I really hope you enjoyed watching today's video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe and tick the bell icon to get notified every time I upload a new video. All of these things really do support me and my journey on social media. Here's my Instagram and TikTok if you would like to see more content from me, and until next time, I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!